Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Sporting Perspective. It is the Wednesday before week 15, and we kind of walked into this show with breaking news from college football. So, we're going to talk a little college football, and then we're going to get to the NFL. And the breaking news is Moore, head coach out of Michigan, is out, had sexual relations with a staffer, got her pregnant, all the bad news, can't do that, obviously. So
Well, we
he
don't
is
know if it's pregnant. That's a rumor. That's a
okay, it's a
rumor.
rumor. Okay, it's a rumor. Uh, uh, Long story short, did something very inappropriate and no longer the coach at Michigan. The reason why we bring this up, that's a big job that intrigues not only the a lot of guys coaching college football, but also guys that are coaching in the NFL as well. The first one that came to my mind, and I'm not saying he's going to take the job or do anything with it, but Tom Brady is a University of Michigan alumni, and the Raiders situation has been a disaster. It'll be interesting to see if he, throws his name into helping out. I'm not saying he's going to be part of any staff, but it'll be interesting if he's, in the running to help out Michigan find their next head coach, as Moore kind of just was gifted the job 2 years ago. Those are kind of my reactions, James. I'll pass it over to you. What were your reactions to it as this is all kind of coming down right now?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what else leaks. I mean, right now, I was just checking Twitter right now, and it's basically, again, I don't want to say this is factual, but from what I read on Twitter, he had an affair. So he does have a wife and kids. Um, Most likely, obviously, that's sexual. Whether he got a girl pregnant, obviously, that's even makes it even worse. But regardless, yeah, not a good situation. We've seen this before,
Yeah.
especially at U of A. Rich Rod had a similar type thing, which led to his release. So it's I don't know. The first thing I want to say is like, how dumb can you be? Like,
Yeah.
Tom Brady would be interesting when it comes to helping pick the next head coach because we saw him at the Ohio State Michigan game this past year, and it feels like it was like the first time in years. Like for being a Michigan guy, uh, it's like why now did he all of a sudden decide to go to that game? I mean, I don't know. First, if I had to name two guys right off the top of my head who could potentially take it, I know right before we started recording, we mentioned Jed Fish, the former U of A head coach. Now he's at Washington. And then I'm going to just put this out here. I haven't seen anything about it, but I'm going to throw Kenny Dillingham out there just because, I mean,
Yeah.
Michigan's a better job. And if he's able to take that, especially with Levitt transferring, I want to say the Army running back who transferred to ASU, who was there for just this past year, he put his name in the portal. I don't know. I saw something yesterday. I saw an interview with Kenny Dillingham, and he claims that he has a amazing starter for next year. I don't know if that's the new high school recruit he just got, or maybe someone in the transfer portal. People were saying like the old Dominion quarterback or someone like that. So I don't know, but I'm going to throw out Kenny Dillingham. That'd be a hell of an upgrade going from ASU to Michigan.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's basically kind of breaking news. So
Yeah.
there's still a lot to process, and it's a big job. I would think they'll go semi big name after, like you said, they just kind of elevated Sharon Moore from offensive coordinator after John Harbaugh,
Yeah.
or not John, Jim
Sure.
Harbaugh left.
I mean, I kind of feel like they're going to try and probably go get a Michigan guy since it worked well with Harbaugh. It seems like their last few stabs at going after a non-Michigan guy have not gone very well, as those years before Harbaugh were pretty rocky to say the least. Between Harbaugh and Carr, they were a little rough. The only other guy that kind of comes to name, as you said, it could be a big name coach, and I could see him making the leap after the fallout. Granted, it would be a hell of a domino. Would be Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. He is an Ohio State guy, so that would be pretty
It would be
funny
interesting. Yeah, be
if he went to
interesting.
Michigan. I thought you were gonna lead. I thought you were leading to say Brian Kelly, and I was gonna be like, eh. He's over 60. He's like 60, if not older than 60. I'm pretty sure he has the money. I mean, maybe he'd coach again, but he seems pretty content with the money, the buyout money he got from LSU, and just he seems to be just golfing every day. So
Yeah,
Marcus
yeah.
Freeman, that would be interesting.
It would be interesting to see if that would happen, but there's probably also NFL guys that we're not thinking of that could obviously take the job, and there's probably many guys that we're not thinking. I bet you anything, and it won't happen, but I bet you anything, Michigan makes a call to Nick Saban. So, but I don't see that happening. So, and talk about the all-time backstab of all time, Urban Meyer. That won't happen either. So,
Yeah, probably not. Those guys are Saban's. He's just too old. I mean, he's like
yeah,
almost that would be a Belichickian
move.
move.
Yeah. I mean, who would be an interesting hire if he were to get fired? Because you kind of talked about it about a month ago. We talked about coaches that are most likely to be fired. Who would be really interesting to take the role if he would be interested to go back into college would be Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
He's
say he's really.
older. He's older, but like he's not a Michigan guy, but he would be a guy that brings life to that team.
I mean, he'd probably have a little more success than what he's doing right now in Vegas.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how this story plays out. I'm sure we're going to hear a coach. Michigan, I don't think is going to take a ton of time. We'll probably hear some leads, obviously, throughout the rest of the week. But let's jump into the NFL, and before we do so, we'll jump back like we always do. We have our top three, and James, I'll let you start with your number one. As we've had a lot of crazy news happen this past week.
Yeah, my number one story has to be the Daniel Jones injury, and really just the Colts altogether. Always sad when you see like a guy who's having kind of a breakout season just fall to the floor with a non-contact injury. It's confirmed. I think right. It was
Yeah.
Achilles.
Yep.
Yeah. So they go from an immediate. I mean, they were Super Bowl contenders. They might not even make the playoffs. They have the hardest schedule, I want to say, these next 4 weeks. We'll talk more about it later in the episode, but Philip Rivers was added to their practice squad. To me, that's a signing. I mean, especially as a 44-year-old dude, like
It's
just come out of retirement. Like he's not going to play this week, but maybe he'll play the week after. I mean, I don't see why he would do that if he wasn't told like he'll be the starting quarterback for the Colts.
Yeah. I mean, I'll add just a couple things to it. I'll mention one thing about Philip Rivers because I don't want to forget it because it's a great nugget. So, I guess the head coach of the Colts and Rivers have been talking all season. I guess Rivers, his coaching hit one of his 15 sons. I don't think it's that many, but it's a lot of sons. One of his sons, who's a quarterback at his high school, and apparently they run the same playbook as the Colts. So it's not
Interesting.
like a complete foreign thing to him. And apparently they've been talking all season. I don't think about like coming back, but like giving each other notes here and there about the playbook here and there. So they've been in contact. So it's not like this was out of nowhere. Granted, just a team that a month and a half ago we were all saying this is a great story. They're going to make the playoffs. Wow, what a dark horse. To they're now like the 8th seed. They're not in the playoffs, and they got a hard schedule. Jones goes down. AR is got his eye thing. Riley Leonard gets his shot, and then he gets hurt. I mean, it's a desperation play.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, I feel for Colts fans. It sucks to be at the highest of highs and now the lowest of lows. And Daniel Jones too. I mean, he was pushing to get. I mean, he was on a 1 year deal.
Yeah,
He just lost a ton of money.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna have to wait. He'll probably be out all of next year,
Yep.
and then he'll have to worry about maybe trying to find a team who wants him. Hopefully, what he did this year was enough for 2 years from now. But we'll see.
Well,
Here. I'll throw in one fun fact nugget about Philip Rivers. So he has 10 kids.
no, 10.
His youngest kid is 1 year older than his one grandchild. So his
Jeez.
eldest daughter, so his first child was a
Yeah,
girl. She had her first kid.
Yeah.
Philip Rivers is a 44-year-old grandfather. Him and his wife had their 10th kid, who's 1 year older than their grandchild.
I mean, if he plays this weekend, I mean, he's got to be one of only a few, if not the only one, to be a grandfather and play in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm trying to think if they're even who. Favre, maybe Brett Favre.
Maybe.
But I mean, Tom Brady was
No, he didn't
old,
have
and
it.
none of his kids have
Young.
kids. So
Yeah. So it's a rare list, but it's going to be interesting to see the last 4 weeks with the Colts. I'll bridge over to mine really quick. Another team that seemed really high of highs at the beginning of the season, Tampa Bay, has really just kind of gone into this no man's land situation. I get they've been really injury ridden, but they lost to a bad New Orleans team at home last week, granted in the rain. They've been beat up by injury and everything like that. I guess my question to you at this point, are we buying or selling Tampa Bay stock? I mean, we've seen this team play really well at times, but we've seen them then lose to New Orleans. And the weirdest thing of all, Carolina is right on their heels at this point. They even make the playoffs, which is wild. I get they get Evans back and a couple of these guys back, but my goodness, this is a real head scratcher, I guess.
oh, and the injury bugs finally wearing off. Chris Godwin's back. Bucky Irving was back. It sounds like Mike Evans is returning this weekend. The ageless wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I wanna give my opinion, but it probably doesn't matter because this is the most parity-driven NFL we've ever seen. It's just literally anyone can win any given week, unless you're the Broncos, who somehow just seem to squeak it out week in and week out. Yeah, I would probably hold the Buccaneers. I want to see what they do this week. Like I said, if Mike Evans is back, that means you have Evans, Ibuka, and Godwin. You have another week of a healthy Bucky Irving. I mean, this is your opportunity to you know put the pedal down and really show why you were really good earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't sell them, but I wouldn't buy them. I'll give them a solid hold just for this 1 week, see how they go.
Okay.
My second point I wanted to discuss was Shador Sanders. He got named starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Good for him. I still think it's absolutely insane that he fell all the way to the 5th round. He probably should have been one of the top quarterbacks taken, at minimum, 2nd rounder. I mean, he looks good. I mean, he looks like an NFL quarterback. He threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran in a touchdown, and he had an opportunity to win that game, and then they pulled the ball out of his hands and did a weird trick play for a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would have been to tie the game, but then had the opportunity to go out and win it in overtime potentially. Had that 2-point conversion worked, but I don't know. That was a weird situation. But I'm if we want to go back to the buy, hold, sell, I'm buying Shador right now. He looks like one of the better quarterbacks the Browns have had probably since Baker Mayfield.
These next 4 weeks are going to be really, really big for him, and really proving that he can do it. Because I mean, the only knock on last week is it was against Tennessee, and Tennessee is not a football team. So it's going to be, can you do it these next 4 weeks? That's going to be the real audition. And we're not saying that he's got to throw for 350 every single week, but he's got to knock out some of those kinks that are kind of there that show promise. He still kind of holds the ball too long, things like that.
And he doesn't even have to win. He just has to show, slight improvements and basically prove the coaching staff, whether that coaching staff's even there next year, that he's the guy to start next year.
He's just got to, because Dylan Gabriel kind of got the same 5-game run that he's getting now at the end of the year. And the one thing that was nice about Dylan Gabriel all season was every single game he got a little bit better. So we just got to see kind of that hey, you're getting better and you're knocking out those college mistakes, um, and make people feel comfortable. I mean, he's going to make rookie mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but just can't make those really dumb ones. So
Yeah, the floor for him, I feel like, is lower than Gabriel. Gabriel's kind of like a steady Eddie,
yeah,
but the ceiling of Shador, I feel like, is a lot higher. It's one of those,
yeah,
you know, he holds the ball a long time. He makes some, he tries to make the heroic plays a lot.
yeah.
Gabriel's like kind of a dink and dunk, doesn't really have a big arm.
Dylan Gabriel kind of reminds me of like the perfect backup quarterback, and
Yeah,
I think a lot of people would say that. The problem with Sanders is he's like you're starting him, or he's like the nightmare backup quarterback.
yeah, they need to harness that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's gonna, like we just said, he's not gonna do what he did last week. Again, it was against the Titans. But I mean, an NFL defense is an NFL defense.
yeah. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
uh,
He's got a good
so
opportunity.
yep. So my next one is I can't believe we're saying this in 2025, but this conversation came back up. If you guys were watching the end of the Pittsburgh Baltimore game, which was a great game, we go back to what is a catch. Isaiah Likely looked like he had a clear touchdown there at the end of the game. Ball gets knocked out, it gets overruled, it's incomplete. It's just much more of a shocker. I feel like we've been talking about this for 2 decades. What's the catch? And we still can't figure it out because, in my opinion, that was a catch, and it wasn't. Costing, in a way, Baltimore the game. They didn't play well, but they almost snuck out a victory. I just can't believe we're still talking about this.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. In my eyes, that was a catch.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
My last one, the last couple weeks, I've been trying to do kind of fun ones for my last point. Um, I don't know if it was an interview or an article, but I saw that Quentin Jammer came out and basically said that he was drunk while he played, like, for 10 years in the NFL. Like, there were games he was just drunk on the field. And then I think I saw it on Twitter because then underneath it, there were clips, Quentin Jammer clips of people saying, like, were you drunk on this play? And then it was a clip of him just, like, half-assing a tackle, or, like, he would take, like, a very odd route to go make the tackle, like something where it's like, yeah, he's kind of wobbling around like he might be drunk. So, I mean, a guy that's been out of the NFL long enough, still kind of a strange thing to admit to, but I mean, yeah, kind of, I don't know. Seems kind of weird. There's really nothing I have to say on it. I just thought it was kind of funny, but also, like, hopefully he didn't have, like, a problem. But, if he was just, like, partying a lot and, I don't know, drinking, I guess, before the games. One, I don't know how he made it through an entire game. If I was drunk, there's no way I could play an entire football game, but I don't know. A very strange story.
I mean, it's not the first one I've heard. I mean, we've heard the story of Ricky Williams admitting to playing high a lot.
Yeah.
We've heard the story it's a great story that David Wells threw the perfect game while drunk. And then there's the great John Gruden story of Sebastian Janikowski in his fourth NFL game, and he was so pissed at him that he threw him out there to make a 58-yarder, and he knew that he was drunk, and he was trying to make him look bad, and then he hit the 58-yarder, and Gruden's like, oh, that was the greatest moment ever, because he knew he was plastered.
Well, there you go. Some of the greatest moments in sports history have come from drunk guys.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So my last one's kind of fun too. Just depending on what side I guess you landed on this one was I can't believe Pete Carroll decided to kick a field goal with 5 seconds to go when it didn't matter, and the only thing that really mattered is Vegas. Guy makes the field goal. Carlson makes the field goal, and Raiders cover. Everyone's pissed online because it shifted the spread, or Denver didn't cover at that point. Yeah, you got people all pissed. It's just entertaining stuff. I don't understand why Pete Carroll did it, but with all the investigations going on lately, I guarantee you that game's getting investigated.
Yeah, that I would immediately be like, oh, does Pete have money on the game? Like, why would he not? You never see that. Normally, it's like, oh, there's 2 seconds left. Just all right, just toss it into the end zone, try to get the touchdown, lose by 3, I guess, if they catch it, and then kick the field goal. But to
Yeah.
kick the field goal to lose by 7 or 6 or whatever it was, that was
So
strange.
literally just cover. That's all it
Yeah,
was. And it's just like, that's pretty suspicious in today's world.
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's jump into tomorrow's Thursday night game and the rest of the slate. Yeah, let's just go right into it. Full slate buys are done. Those are in the past, and some of these games mean a lot. Some of these games are kind of turning just into draft position at this point, as quite a few teams have now been eliminated. But let's roll into it. Team we already talked about briefly, Tampa Bay hosting Atlanta tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football.
I'm taking the Bucks at home. I think they right the ship. A lot of their guys are getting healthy, like we talked about earlier in the show. I'm just going to bank on Baker, Bucky, Evans, Godwin, Ibuka doing their thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucks as well. Atlanta, just Kirk Cousins' team not looking great. Drake London doesn't look like he's going to play. The Atlanta season's been really disappointing, to say the least. I'll take Tampa Bay. Let's move over to Sunday. Cleveland, who we've already talked about, heading to Chicago. Didn't really mention it earlier, but that Chicago Packer game was amazing. Packers now hold the one spot. No, they're now in the lead in the North. Chicago's fallen all the way to 7 after that loss. But those two play each other. Who do you got?
I'm taking the Bears. I'm a Ben Johnson believer. He's the better coach. Bears are the better team. I know we were talking up Shador, but I think Shador can play all right. It's not like the Bears' defense is like that great. They do cause a lot of turnovers, but they give up a lot of yards. But the Bears overall, they're just a better team. Cleveland still just isn't there.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Bears as well. I think they win. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a defensive struggle. Garrett is 3 sacks away from breaking the record, so we're kind of on a watch for that when that's gonna happen. I think we're all assuming that's gonna happen, but we'll see how many times he can get to Caleb Williams this weekend. Um, Baltimore heading to Cincinnati, rematch from just 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving.
I'm taking the Bengals. The Ravens just something's broken with them. Lamar doesn't look like himself. Um, I guess we'll see if T. Higgins plays. It's kind of trending and looking like he probably won't. He's back in concussion protocol, but you still got Burrow and Chase, which is a dynamic 1-2 punch. You got Chase Brown. Yeah, I don't know. The Ravens just aren't doing it for me, and they're on the road. It's always a hostile territory when those two teams play, and the other one, the away team is always going to get their shit heckled. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm actually
Bengals.
I'm going Ravens here. I don't know truly why. I think that they're going to be in a little bit more desperation mode. Bengals season basically ended last week. I think the Bills might kill their spirit a little bit from last week. So I'm going to take Baltimore. They're still playing for something, while Cincinnati really isn't playing for anything at this point outside of pride. Um, Another division game. This is another team just living on a thread at this point. The Chargers beat the Eagles. They look great, but they're heading to Kansas City, who is in win now mode, and if they lose a few more, they're probably done.
I'm taking the Chargers, even though they're on the road. Um, Man, that was such a bad game to watch. That Chargers Eagles game. It was just a turnover fest. But I'm hoping with the 1 week under Herbert's belt and some practice time with his club left hand, he can kind of figure it out. Hampton's back, healthy. Him and Vidal look like a nice 1-2 punch. Same thing I'll say with the Ravens. There's just something broken with this Chiefs team. They're just not. They're just kind of that dynasty we saw is starting to crumble. Um, I need them to prove it to me, and the Chargers are one of those teams who find ways to win.
Yeah, you pretty much said exactly what I was going to say. I'm taking LA as well. I have nothing to add. Another important division game here. Buffalo heading to New England.
I'm taking the Patriots honestly, just because they're at home and they're coming off a bye, which I think will be huge. Um, yeah, that's really it. Mike Vrabel's got that team just playing really, really well on both sides of the ball. And Drake May's in MVP discussion. So he literally lost betting odds because he was on a bye when Matthew Stafford played. So you know, Drake May has a good game this week. He could bump himself back up, and he's right there with Stafford in the 1-2 race for MVP.
Yeah. So pretty much exactly what you were going to say. I was going to repeat. I've got New England as well. So a good 4 games there. We're going to go on a run here of 4 stinkers. Washington, Jaden Daniels is hurt again, not playing. It looks like heading to New York to take on the Giants.
I'm actually taking the Commanders. Weirdly enough, they look better with Mariota. I really don't have any other reasons in that. This is just 2 bad teams playing. I'm just putting my eggs, I guess, in the veteran basket of Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. Yeah, these are 2 bad teams. I'm going to take the Giants. I don't know why I took the Giants, but I'm taking the Giants. So they're both bad teams at this point. Vegas heading to Philly.
Eagles at home. This screams rebound. They'll go from fans wanting to murder all their players to, we're back to being the best team in the league. So
yeah, yep, I agree. I got Philly as well. That's also nope, not the largest spread of the weekend. It's third. This one's second. Jets heading to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yep.
I couldn't even tell you who the Jets quarterback was after Tyrod went down. I think it was like I can't think of the name, but I looked him up and it was like Missouri quarterback. It was
Brady Cook.
Brady Cook.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brady Cook's not winning a game. Jacksonville's winning.
Jacksonville's got a good defense. Yeah, they looked really good against the Colts, and I get the Colts were going through all their stuff, but Jacksonville looks in a pretty good spot to win that division at this point. The other team in that division has a good shot, taking on Arizona as they're Arizona heading to Houston, taking on Houston.
Yeah, Houston. They have the best defense in football, so I think Houston.
I got Houston as well. Let's head to the afternoon games. First one, really good one here. Green Bay heading to Denver.
I really wanted to take the Packers, especially because Toyotathon has started, and Jordan Love's numbers during Toyotathon are just incredible. So I'm hoping for my fantasy team he has a good game. I'm taking the Broncos because they are the best team in football on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They give up they give up the least amount of sacks, and they have the most amount of sacks. So, talk to an O lineman, talk to a D lineman, talk to anyone who really knows football. The trenches is where you need to be, elite to win, and they have both sides of their trenches are elite. So I'm taking the Broncos to beat the Packers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos as well. The only thing I'm going to add is Mile High, which I guess it's not Mile High Stadium anymore, but Mile High is what I always call it. It's a tough place to play. That's a rowdy crowd, and being a mile high is different. So elevation's a real thing, and you never know what the weather's going to be. Granted, coming from Green Bay, you never know what's going to be there either. But Denver's a tough place to play. If this game was being played in Green Bay, I probably would have taken Green Bay, but it's played in Denver, so I'm taking Denver. We got the Stafford Goff Bowl here next. Detroit heading to LA, take on the Rams.
And battle of the dome quarterbacks. I'm taking the Rams. I just think they're the more complete team. We talked, was it last week? Maybe not last week. I don't know. A little time ago, I think we talked about... Well, no, yeah, it was last week. We talked about Ben Johnson. I think the Lions are missing Ben Johnson. I think their offense is good because they have the playmakers, but I just don't think they are what they used to be. the Rams to me just they. If someone had to put a gun to my head and said who's the best team in the NFL, I'd probably just have to say the Los Angeles Rams. And they're home, so I'm going to take Stafford over Goff.
Yeah. I get Detroit has a little bit more time off coming into this game, having played the previous Thursday. But LA played a terrible Cardinals team and literally just tore them apart. This Rams team, when it gets going, is tough. I'm expecting there to be a lot of scoring in this one, but I'm going to give the edge to the Rams. I just still think that they're the best team in the NFL. So, I'm going to go Rams. Carolina taking on New Orleans.
I'm taking the Panthers because it means more to them if they get the win. They still have a chance, I think. I don't think they're officially eliminated, so yeah, I'm taking the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers as well. I will say Tyler Shuck looked pretty good for the first time as an NFL quarterback last week. Got 2 rushing touchdowns. So, but Carolina, I think, wins this one. These next 2 could be pretty ugly. Tennessee heading to San Francisco.
Niners. I don't need to say any analysis. 49ers.
I got the Niners as well. And then this one has the largest spread of the weekend, but it makes sense because we have no idea who their quarterback is. We kind of already talked about it. Colts heading to Seattle.
Yeah, Seahawks. I'm actually, while you go into the next game, I'm going to see if I can find out who... Well, here, actually, let me buffer for a couple seconds while I try to look this up. The projected starting quarterback after I get through an advertisement. Oh my god. Just show me that. Is Riley Leonard.
Okay. I think
Riley
there's
Leonard's not winning. Seattle's going to win.
I think Seattle's going to win that game. Let's go to Sunday Night Football. Minnesota taking on Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas, even if CD doesn't play. Minnesota's way too roller coaster. They looked good last week, and their defense is good, but I don't know. Cowboys are at home. The NFL's weird. I can't figure it out, so I'm just going to take the home team. And if the reports are true, Schottenheimer had a talk with Pickens and doesn't seem too fazed with how he played and is hoping that, Cowboys Pickens shows up this week, not Steelers Pickens who showed up last week, because he just didn't look interested at all. And it's like, dude, you're the number one receiver on this team now, especially with Lamb going into concussion protocol. Like, try to make some plays. So
yeah,
I'm going to bank on Javonte Williams and Pickens having big games.
I got Dallas as well. Let's go to Monday night. Miami taking on Pittsburgh. Miami has really kind of revitalized their season, and Pittsburgh is leading the North.
Yeah, this is actually a better game than I ever would have thought maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I'm taking the Steelers as of right now because the Dolphins over the years have shown that they can't play in just anywhere that's not a dome or warm weather. And I'm still waiting on we are still waiting on the status of Achane.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers to win at home. They need it too. They need to just continue stacking wins to try to win that division.
Yeah. I'm going to take Pittsburgh as well. It's kind of the same thing that you've already said. If this game was in Miami, I'd probably be more inclined to take Miami, but because it's in Pittsburgh and Miami just has a terrible track record in these cold weather games, it's tough to take them. So pretty much that simple on that one. Well, that's the slate for week 15. We got a top 5 this week, and it kind of goes alongside some of the news that we already talked about. Phillip Rivers, 44-year-old quarterback, got signed by the Colts. There's a real chance that he could get snaps at some point over these next 4 weeks. So in doing so, we decided to fly back to the 2004 draft class. And we're going to rank our top 5 players from that draft class. And it's a good one, to say the least. And, James, I'll let you go first.
So at number five, I'm throwing in Eli Manning, mainly just because, well, he wasn't a bad quarterback, but numbers wise, compared to other potential Hall of Famers, maybe he's not quite there, but he does have two Super Bowls over Tom Brady. Uh, yeah, you could even asterisk him and put Philip Rivers alongside him because Philip Rivers had better numbers, never won a Super Bowl, and then they were actually traded for each other. So
Yep. So my number five is actually Philip Rivers. You look at his numbers; they're fantastic. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer. He was a semifinalist to be a Hall of Famer, and well, that's no longer the case. He just reset his clock to 2031. Um, but I have him at five. The biggest thing that's glaringly missing from his resume is that Super Bowl. Didn't really have a great playoff record for the most part. So, and with such great teams, that's kind of a glaring weakness in his resume. But great stats, great leader, and I have him at number five, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
number four, I'm going with the guy that wasn't even drafted, Jason Peters. Uh, just a dude whose picture you look at and you're like, holy shit, that guy's huge. Probably going to go down as one of the greatest linemen of all time. Um, yeah, I mean, just a monster of a human, one of the best linemen. To think that he went undrafted is absolutely insane, but I'm throwing him at number four.
So I had Jason Peters at six. That was a tough one. I wanted to put him in, but put him at six. At number four, and it's purely because he has those two Super Bowl rings against Tom Brady, and he forever will be known for that. And he had a really good career, never missed a start for the most part, had a crazy streak there for a long time. Eli Manning goes in at four. Hall of Famer, played under the biggest lights, had the big name, had the big last name behind his first name. Had a lot of pressure, and he lived up to it for the most part. It was a tough situation for him, being a Manning and being a Giants quarterback. Got them two Super Bowls. What can you ask for more? He'll be number four on my list.
Number three, I'm throwing in what, in my eyes, the best quarterback from that draft, Ben Roethlisberger. Um, Big Ben destroyed my hopes and dreams as a Cardinals fan in 2008, 2009 in that Super Bowl. But overall, I think he had numbers wise and just Super Bowls wise, I think he had the best career.
Yep.
Definitely gonna, definitely will be a Hall of Famer. So yeah, a guy that will forever be loved in Pittsburgh. Just kind of epitomized that the grit and grime of that, blue collar city. So I'm taking
Yep.
so Ben Roethlisberger number three.
So at my number three, currently he is the only one out of this draft class in the Hall of Fame at this point, and that is Jared Allen. Just a menace on the D line. He is fourth all time in sacks. Still holds the record for I think most safeties by any defensive player. He's now a professional curler, which is hilarious. But he had a great NFL career. Had him at three, and he's already a Hall of Famer. So he's already there.
Number two, I have Larry Legend, Larry Fitzgerald. Minus Jerry Rice, arguably the greatest wide receiver of all time. The thing with Larry that I'm going to give him props to over a ton of wide receivers is if you go down his quarterback list,
Yeah.
he did it every year with a different quarterback, other than maybe Kurt Warner, who was there for a couple years,
Carson Palmer for a little
Carson
bit.
Palmer a couple years, and other than that, I mean, you have guys like Max Hall,
Yeah.
John Skelton, and year in and year out, he never drops the ball. I mean, he would always end every year with one. I mean, if he had two drops in a year, that was like a bad season. Um,
But
but yeah, he's
I think he ended up with a stat, if I remember right, he ended up with more tackles than drop passes in his career.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be. He's a shoe in for the Hall of Fame, and just I think should be number two as the second greatest wide receiver, I guess, behind Jerry Rice.
Yeah. So my number two, someone that you already mentioned, I got Ben Roethlisberger at two. Won those two Super Bowls, was really a staple to Pittsburgh for all those years. In a way, he kind of gets credit for this in a way. He kind of changed the quarterback position in the aspect of, he was kind of he walked so Josh Allen could run type situation. These quarterbacks that, they were always protecting and things like that. He was just built differently. The nickname being Big Ben. He could move. He was massive. He could make all the throws. And he was a leader of that team. Brought him 2 Super Bowls, and you knew who was going to be behind the center. Really didn't get hurt until kind of the end there. And you can really still feel his presence missing 4 or 5 years later because they have yet to find his replacement.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they haven't found a replacement. Number one, I have Jared Allen, just because he is the only Hall of Famer. A year from now, maybe this list would be different, but as of right this second, nothing's guaranteed. Obviously, there are some guys we've named who it would be weird if they weren't Hall of Famers, but Jared Allen's the only Hall of Famer. Phenomenal career, you mentioned a lot of it. And last thing I'll say is that I actually met Jared Allen in Scottsdale.
Oh, nice.
I don't think he lives there anymore, but he lived down the street from my Aunt Cindy.
Oh, cool.
So my cousin Austin and I walked down to his house. This would have been like, I don't know, we were in like probably high school, I guess.
Okay.
But he had a huge truck with Vikings horns on
Oh,
his
that's
truck.
cool. That's cool.
So we just went and knocked on his door, and because we were like, that has to be a Vikings player. Like, but who is it?
Yeah.
And then, we're in high school, so we're it's not like we're little kids. Like, we're like, oh crap, it's Jared Allen. And he was like, yeah, he was just like, can I help you? And we're just like, oh, we just knew you were a NFL player. We were just curious who you are. We talked for like 5 minutes and then left.
Nice. That's cool. Nice. So my number one, obviously you already mentioned it. It's a little bit of my bias of being a Cardinals fan. I got Larry Fitzgerald. He will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. It'd be shocking if he doesn't. Him and Breeze probably being the 1-2 locks. One of the best wide receivers of all time. Definitely, I think everyone's top 5. But a lot of the accolades have already been mentioned. Yeah, he's great, and he's doing still wonderful things here in the Phoenix area after his career. So.
A guy who technically hasn't officially retired, but he has, but he hasn't.
Yeah, he never
announced his retirement. He just kind of all of a sudden, people knew it was probably his last game. I remember that State Farm Stadium game. And then the next year, just he wasn't on the team, but he never came out with any kind of I'm retiring. He just kind of left.
Maybe his retirement speech is going to be the Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, that could be that. All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we sign off here?
I think I'm good. A lot of football the last 2 days. These are some long episodes.
Yeah, a lot of football. A lot of exciting stuff happening throughout the month. So we'll be back next week. We'll be talking college football playoff. We got our selections for that week, a week from now. And then obviously week 16. So we'll be back in a week. Yeah. Later, everybody.